afternoon, everyone. On behalf of AIT Extension, it is my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to our webinar on endless possibilities with digital medicine and how AI shapes the future of health. In today's rapidly evolving landscape, the interaction of healthcare and artificial intelligence presents boundless opportunities for innovation and transformation. Throughout this webinar, we will delve into the groundbreaking advancements, revolutionary technologies, and emerging trends that are reshaping the healthcare industry as we know it. From personalized treatment plans to predictive diagnostics, AI is revolutionizing every aspect of healthcare delivery, offering endless possibilities to improve patient outcomes, enhance efficiency, and drive unparalleled progress. So with this, now I would like to invite Mr. Waravet Chulnasin, Executive Director of AIT Extension, for the welcome remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pallavi. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon from AIT Thailand, and also good morning, good afternoon, good evening for those who are coming from different places. My name is Waravet Chulnasin. I'm the Executive Director of AIT Extension. At the same time, I'm also looking after the UNITA CIFAR Bangkok, as you can see on the screen. So AIT Extension and CIFAR Bangkok is, we are organizing a knowledge products and knowledge transfers every month. And this is the 2nd of the March 2024, which we are focusing on the cutting edge technologies. And this time we want to focus on the medical technologies because this is very important for health sectors. And this is something that also addressing one of the SDGs focus of the United Nations. So we would like to introduce the audience and also the institutions, the organization around the regions to really explore the possibilities of research, applications, and also industrial relations in this subject. So I must thanks to our expert today, Dr. Wan Siri, who are coming from the King Mongkut University of Technologies to share with you in-depth information about what is the possibility of the medtechs that we can, we may not be able to imagine, but something it is very important for perspective so that is the starting point of future innovation and also the application. So with this, I would like to, with your audience, please allow me to opening this webinar, and I will give the floor to Dr. Pallavi to run this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Pijo. So now I would like to introduce Dr. Warasini Chaisang Mongkon. Sorry if I mispronounced it. So we are honored to have you today for our session. As a short introduction is she has received her BSc degree from Cornell University, USA, and MSc and PhD from the Neuroscience from Yale University. She has been in the lecture with Institute of Field of Robotics, KMUTT, like King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi, since 2015. Her research interests include deep learning for computer vision and natural language processing, especially for medical applications. She will share her invaluable experience and insights and perspectives on this critical topic. So please, a warm welcome to Dr. Warasini.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here today. And thank you, Dr. Pallavi and Dr. Waravet for such a warm welcome and the introduction. So I guess I will get started with this webinar. So yeah, as Dr. Pallavi has introduced, my journey to medical innovations is not a straight path. I started it as a brain scientist at Yale University. When I did the PhD around 2010, I heard of this concept called deep learning, which at the time I was modeling data from monkey's brain, or not. This was a big data collected from monkey brain, and my job is to build a computational model that matched that and that explained that decision making that a primate do on their frontal cortex, right? It didn't seem to be something that would turn into a startup, but that's how it started. That's the first time I heard of deep learning, and that's the first time I start programming artificial intelligence. And not that I know like now that every single AI that we heard of today was based on deep learning, and that's how it started. So when I came back to Thailand, there wasn't an idea of AI, but there was an idea of big data. And a lot of financial institutes and telecom communication companies were looking into big data in order to utilize it to improve their business efficiency. And so I went into the industry and became a machine learning consultant and expert. And I helped them do all kinds of things with machine learning. Like at some point, I was programming a credit card recommendation system. So if you eat Japanese food at Fuji, this recommender will tell you to go eat at Zen restaurant as well, something like that. So that's the kind of intelligence that I that I built back in about 2015 to 2017. And then for some reason, I've been building this kind of big data system and machine learning system for a lot of banks and financial institutes. And so I have the know-how of how to do it from scratch to deployment. And and at that time, me and my two co-founders who have, they both have a deep passion in healthcare. Their father was a doctor, their mother is a nurse. So like they have deep passion in here, and we get together and we decided that we're going to bring AI to healthcare in order to solve a lot of issues in this industry in Thailand. So maybe I could get started on the slides. Should I just share the screen, right? Yeah, so that's brought me to this talk today. The story that you will hear today is a story of how we build AI in order to shape the future of healthcare. And I believe this is just the tiny first step towards towards the vision of what digital medicine can do for not just people in Thailand, but across the world. So today I'm going to first introduce you to the worldwide trend and AI revolution in healthcare. So how did we start? What challenges, trends, and opportunities did we see when we got started? And that's got me started on this path to change to try to solve the problems that I witnessed. And then I'm going to share my experience of how my AI platform started, how it impacts everyday work of the doctors, and what technology is behind it that unlock the life-saving potential of AI. And so, yeah, that's the content of today's webinar. So let's address this worldwide trend of AI in healthcare and how it started. I remember reading this book. This is a very influential book in my mind, written by Eric Topol. He's director of the Scrip Research. And in this book called Deep Medicine, Eric has talked about his personal experience with the healthcare system in the US. And he has reflected of how sad it is that an average doctor in the US will only have 7 minutes to spend with the patient before he has to make the diagnosis. And that's sad when you're making a decision that impacts life and death of someone, and you only have 7 minutes to do so. And when I look into the Thai statistics, Thai doctor only have 5 minutes to with an OPD patient, and they have to make the diagnosis. So to Eric, this is deeply sad because doctors around the world overwork and they have to deal with a lot of patients. He even said that it's sadly this workload has turned doctor into machine that has to just churn out medical decisions. But in this book, Deep Medicine, Eric has also remarked that AI, the machine AI, will finally bring the human back to medicine. So he has a high hope for what AI can do for doctors around the world. And if you look at who in the hospital have the most dramatic life change, given the recent advancements in technology, it would be the radiologist. So if you look into the radiologist 15 years ago, in a 12-hour shift of their work, they will have to diagnose 500 images in in a 12-hour shift. But today, 15 years later, the same shift, a single radiologist has to go through more than 50,000 images in a day, right? This is because like the rapid change in the data volume, the medical scanner, CT scan, MRI, and many other medical imaging technologies get more and more advanced. And with that, like the CT scan used to be something like 30 slides. Now we can have a CT scan that produces more than 200 slides, for example. So medical data doubles every 2 months, and a huge volume of that are the images, which actually image data account for more than 80% of big data in the hospital, and they are extremely hard to interpret because there's really no way to structurize it and computerize, and it's hard to build. Back then it was hard to build an algorithm to read it, right? So like this is a huge gold mine of medical information that are largely not accessible. The only people who get to interpret it were human radiologists, and this is a crisis, right, for them. When AI started it, I think I have watched this industry grow in the last 7 years, and you see that AI has made its stride into the healthcare. And if you look into the startup landscape, for example, you will see that a large part of this AI revolution in healthcare, of course, AI have been deployed in many sectors of the medical landscape, from drug discovery to genomics to hospital decision support, a lot of it in health insurance, virtual assistants, and health monitoring and wearables and everything, right? But if you look at this movement of AI into healthcare, you'll see that a significant chunk, actually number one sector of healthcare that have the most AI deployed is in data-driven imaging and diagnostic solutions. So it will be in this corner right here. And in this statistics capture, 29% of startups are in this space, and 22% of funding in healthcare fundings go into medical diagnostic using images. So you can see just how much the AI companies are also attacking this problem, because they know this is the biggest source of big data that they can extract health information to and potentially change how medicine is done. This is a stat from 2022. So this is the number of AIs that received FDA approval throughout the years. And you can see that exponential curve going extremely fast. At this time of the statistic capture, there are over 550 AIs in the market. Has already been approved and being deployed across hospitals. And on the right-hand side here, you see that the majority of it, actually 80% of these FDA-approved AI were deployed in radiology, and second is cardiology, but it's also imaging, right? So a lot of these two branch of medicines use AI the most, and so they are. You could see this as a prone of that radiologists are prone to disruption, and that's something that we will address in this webinar. But yeah, you will also see that the coming of AI into medicine will impact the most on these two, because they're looking at images for the most part. So radiologists today have access to AI for pretty much every organ you can scan in the body. You have AI to help them read, right? So this statistic here I aggregate from the products. This is the radiology. This is AI in medical diagnostics products around the world, and I group it by based on the type of images that the AI can read, right? And this statistic is captured recently after COVID. So you will see that because of COVID, a lot of chest CT AI has been invented and commercialized. Chest X-ray, head CT, which is another huge problem in medicine because head CT can basically use to diagnose like accidents and both acute and chronic brain abnormalities. You can see brain MRI here, pathology slices. You see even the eye images from fundus camera, all kinds of ultrasounds, right, and mammogram. So basically, every part of the body that you can image, there's an AI for it. So this is a huge opportunity for radiologist department to make their workflow much more efficient. So how can AI help radiologists, right? So if you look at the radiology workflow from image acquisition to pre-processing to all that, you will see that once the image get into the radiology office, they have the radiology have a lot of tasks that the analysis that they have to do on the medical images before they draft out the reporting and then send it to the patient or into an information system in the hospital, right? So the image analysis task can range from detection, so looking at the vast areas of the images and detect potential abnormalities on the image. So they have to spot first where the abnormality is. After that, they have to characterize the abnormality from segmenting where the boundary is. Did the diagnosis, what kind of abnormality, what features did they see on that little lesion there? And also analyze the staging or how far, if it's a malignancy, how far is it on the disease progress? And they have to look at this lesion on a single patient over time in order to track how much it changed over time. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? So these are all the decision or the micro decisions that a radiologist has to do in order to build up an accurate report. And for the case of chest X-ray, they probably do all this in under 1 minute. And if you can imagine, if they have to do all this for multiple series of image at a time, it's a lot of work and it's actually pretty tiring for the brain. So AI can help with all these. AI can help with detection, with characterization, and with change analysis. So that's what the AI does. It helps the doctor make these micro decisions on their analysis. I've heard recently that a lot of young doctors were reluctant to get into radiology because they felt like they could be disruption in their jobs. They can lose their jobs to AI. But I could guarantee that, yes, there's a lot of excitement in radiology. Today, AI is considered not just nice to have for hospitals, they become a must-have for every hospital that have radiologists in-house. But all in all, I don't think that radiologist job will disappear. And I explain why. But to this day, I would, when the doctor asks me, will I be replaced by AI? I would answer exactly that AI will not replace you. However, medical professionals who use AI will replace medical doctors who don't. So this is the current sentiment of in the medical community, that the adoption of AI has become a critical skill and a critical opportunity for their career. And this is where we are today. So I'm going to talk about this, I guess, my small part in this whole chaos of change in AI coming into medicine. And this is my product, Inspectra CXR. It's an X-ray, chest X-ray radiologist assistant. It's an application that helps the doctor make decisions about chest X-ray faster. So The experience of this application is basically the doctors, they do not have to change their experience in how they read medical images. They can just look at the image from the software that they always use, which is from the PACS or the picture archiving system. And once they look at the chest X-ray image, for example, they can just quickly scroll the mouse, no click required. They just scroll the mouse, and then they will see the preliminary AI report that look just like this. So it will tell you most likely set of, is this image abnormal and for what percentage? It will tell you what are most likely the conditions that appear in this image. It will highlight the spot where it suspects the lesion to be, and it will tell you the CTR or chest to heart ratio or the lung to heart ratio, which is indicator of a condition like cardiomegaly, like where your heart is enlarged, which is a type of abnormality. So with this one overview, quick look, the doctor can quickly identify where in this image is likely to have lesion, and they can flip back to the original image and confirm whether the AI was right or wrong, or what would be their opinion. And they will combine their own judgment with the AI suggestion and then come up with the final diagnosis. So that's what this product can do to help them make the decision. So we have other nice feature, like the fact that we could provide real-time results. So the doctor can get the prelim analysis from AI right away after the image came in. It's fully integrated with whatever system they're already using, so there's no need for additional software. We have an extensive monitoring system, which is actually became extremely crucial given the network problem, the internet problem in Thailand. This is very crucial. And also we can customize this AI to support every kind of workflow, from the X-ray van workflow. We can do it for radiology department. We can do it for the ER, the emergency room, all kinds of workflow. We can customize the AI to fit in their workflow. So this is the product. It started with an idea, and it started with just a simple AI train, but now we, from the day it was conceived, now this AI has processed more than 3 million images of Thai people, Thai chest X-ray images from across the country. We have a team, we work with Sirat Hospital in a partnership, and we work with a team of more than 30 radiologists around the country to validate this AI. We've grown into a team of 35. Now, company is now 35 people with more than 20 engineers. We publish lots of paper, and we have gathered cases from all across the countries, all kinds of hospital, all kinds of X-ray machines, and we have more than 100,000 cases already in our validation set, which ensure that our AI can perform well in all kinds of image with variability in imaging data. And on our journey here, we jumped through a lot of regulatory hoops. So we the first Thai AI that are built by Thai people, that are approved by Thai FDA. And we are in the pending process. And a Singaporean, we work with Royal College of Radiologists Thailand to validate our tuberculosis model. We go through the ISO and international and standardized process, and work with Stop TB. So, and we have to comply to a lot of security certificates as well in order to be used safely and securely, and ensure that the data, the patient privacy has been protected. So there's a lot of standard that has to be passed in order to be used in hospital today. So the dots here were actually the hospitals that use our AI, and we haven't kept it super updated, but now we are in more than 90 plus medical centers across the country. So some of these names you might recognize, Sirirat or Sirirat Priya Mahakarun Hospital, a lot of hospitals in the BDMS group. So these are like big private hospital that use our AI. But we are so proud of the small ones, especially the ones near the border, like Pattani case, or like Loi or Chiang Rai. These are the provinces that deploy our AI, and they wouldn't typically have radiologists in-house. So that's another problem with radiologist shortage here. Not only that we have very small number of radiologists for the population, we only have like maybe more than a little bit more than 1,000 radiologists for the whole country of Thailand with 60 million people. So that's very much shortage. But not only that, the radiologists usually cluster around Bangkok and private hospital. So these hospitals on the border, they actually don't have radiologists on site. And our AI, when introduced there, actually a lot of help for their workflow. So that was how much we can accomplish in short few years after launching this AI. But I think the impact is seen actually in the case by case and the stories of the patient, which we collected and tell people, because it's always heartwarming to think about people that we save. So this is a case of a lady. She has breast cancer, so you can see that one of her breasts is missing. And after she have to cut off her breast after the cancer case, she come to follow up every year to see if the malignancy, the cancer came back, basically. So if you look at this image as a radiologist, you might not suspect much, or like, especially if you're tired, you definitely might not see the lesion. But the AI, quickly, you can see that the AI, it's not a high confidence, but it highlights a couple places where it thinks there might be something wrong, and that might alert the patient, the doctor, to see that there might be something wrong there. And what could happen is they can zoom in, and they can also do the CT scan. And you can see that this reveal a tiny nodule that reappear in the lung, which could be a metastasis from her breast cancer earlier. So, and you can detect this earlier and then take care of it earlier, so she doesn't have to go through the whole chemical treatment again. So this is a case that we save, and this is happening for the big hospital. This kind of thing happen pretty much every day. They've seen maybe 3 to 5 cases where the doctor might have missed the nodule completely, but the AI highlighted and saved the patient. This is another one that it's actually a very interesting case. It shows us what AI can actually do, and it can perhaps go beyond what doctor can see. So you can see that there's a little thing here that could be missed as well. If radiologist is not experienced enough, but the AI can see something. You can see the faint heat map here, and the AI clearly saw something. So once you take the lateral view of the patient and follow up with the CT images, you can see this huge lump of, I guess, tumor or malignancy behind the heart. So this is another thing that AI can do. It can alert doctor to take several examinations, and it might reveal something that could be significant to patients' lives. So we have many of these cases that, sometimes hiding in the messiness of the HILA and turn out to be another tumor or malignant lesion. It's a nodule of size 2 centimeter, and so on and so forth. So like, we've seen a lot of cases like this. And this is what the AI can do. It can alert the doctor of suspicious lesion, help them have a second look, and perhaps it might reveal something that very interesting about the case. Okay, I want to skip these cases, and because I want to more address about like how AI actually being applied in clinical workflow. So you already see how AI can save one life, right? So how once it's applied in the clinical workflow, that's when it can potentially save multiple lives at the same time, and also make our healthcare process more efficient. an example of how AI is deployed in the workflow. So in a usual workflow, right, the patient will take the chest X-ray, and the clinician will read the chest X-ray. Mostly, chest X-ray in Thailand is not read by radiologists. Rather, it's general practitioner who has to read the chest X-ray, and they're not specially trained to see these lesions. So I guess, like in most cases, if they suspect of something or like they really see the clinical signs of abnormality, they would have to consult with a radiologist who have a lot of queue already. So they're gonna have to wait for a long time. And after that, after the radiologists get a chance to look, then they return the result to the clinician, and then they can finally make the diagnosis. So that's the waiting time there, right? But what AI can do is that maybe if the clinician is not super sure, they can basically first consult the AI. And if they have no finding, they can perhaps like quickly make the diagnosis if the AI confirm to them that there's nothing suspicious in the image. But if the AI detected lesion, then they can send this small portion of cases to the radiologist. So that means the queue, the consulting queue at the radiologist's office will have much less queue, and they can clear those tasks much faster and make the final diagnosis much faster. So with this kind of workflow, we saw 44% consulting rate reduction, shorter waiting time, more than 1 hour, and capacity of this workflow can increase more than 300%. So we did this study where show that like if you're a non-specialist, this is sensitivity and specificity. So if you're a non-specialist, you're a general practitioner, your accuracy perhaps is around 70% sensitivity and 94% specificity. But if non-specialist is coupled with the AI, they can have accuracy boost. And this like you will see the sensitivity will go up to 87 and 97 for specificity. So this accuracy boost here, like make it so that general practitioner can have accuracy closer to the radiologist expert, and they can handle some of these decisions themselves. And that results in reduction in the consultant consultation. But markedly, you thought that if you consult the radiologist more, you would actually miss diseases. But the key highlight here is that not only that you reduce the workload, but you can get incremental early detection case, meaning the cases that would usually miss in the whole workflow, you see 14% increase in the cases that would typically be missed. And this is very important because like the majority of cancer patients will discover their cancer in stage 4 or 5, where there's no hope of curing it. But if you can increase this early detection rate, you will increase the life expectancy of the patient significantly. So this is what impact that AI could do to the clinical workflow. Here we look at another workflow, which is actually very important for Thailand because we have very high tuberculosis burden, and not just Thailand, but the whole Southeast Asia. So the workflow here, like it's very difficult. Imagine you have to go to a community in order to screen for tuberculosis. So you send an X-ray van to the community in order to screen everybody there. You go around the village and ask 700 patients to come and to hop on the X-ray van and actually X-ray their lung. In a typical workflow, you have to let this patient go for the day because this image have to go to the radiologist so that they can read all 700 images. And after that, if the radiologist discover that some people have tuberculosis, it will already be so many days after the van has visited the village. The van has to then travel back to the village to collect their sputum, to do the sputum test. But you can see that these 20 days, if somebody has tuberculosis, they would already have spread it to their family and their neighbors already. Because of this delay in chest X-ray diagnosis, unfortunately, more people will be infected. But with chest X-ray these days, like with the AI we already, with this workflow, we install the AI right on the van. So once the patient is there, they can quickly triage and classify people into images that show no sign of tuberculosis and a small portion that have high tendency of having TB feature inside the chest X-ray. So the van doesn't have to leave the location for this analysis. They can decide to do sputum tests on this small number of patients, and the patient can receive treatment as fast as day 3, where their tuberculosis is not progressed too much. So this is actually increased their chance of being cured from this disease. So with this workflow, we saw 70% workload reduction, 7x sputum collection efficiency, and the first dose of drug can that usually be given on week 3. It can be given in the first 3 days. So this is how it fastened the workflow and saved lives. So aside from CXR, we are now venture into other organs, and one of the highest, most dangerous cancer especially for women is breast cancer. So that's our second product that it's now we on pilot test of version 1. So hopefully it can be deployed within this year. This is Inspectra MMG. So here in this case, I think so the feature of this is kind of similar. So we can so this AI can detect abnormality in the mammogram images. It provide you with the localization and heat map. It now have 4 conditions. Like if you don't know, the breast cancer can manifest in different ways. Sometimes you see just like abnormal arrangement of the calcification. Sometimes you see a small like soft tissue mass, and it can have all kinds of features in the mammogram that radiologists typically trying to spot. So right now we can detect 4 different types, and we can output the likelihood of each type of lesion, and also we can output breast density, which is actually a particularly important feature especially for Thai women, where the breast has like less of a fat tissue. So it's actually for Asian women, breast cancer is very hard to diagnose. Usually they would recommend you have 2 radiologists look into the same mammogram and trying to get second opinion in every single cases, because of the dense nature of the breast. Like if you have a lot of fat tissue in the breast, you will see the breast looking kind of transparent like this. And if you have cancer in like a mass inside, it will pop out as like a white spot, and it's very easy to spot. But when you have dense breast with less fatty tissue, this the lesion actually is very hard to spot because it's kind of mixed in with the muscular tissue. So the breast density especially will tell the doctor like how likely these malignancy will be missed, right? So they can be extra careful if the breast is too dense. Yeah, so that's 2 of our products. We have more to come. We have now we have eye fundus camera AI that look into diabetic retinopathy. We also looking into CT brain, which can also diagnose a lot. But yeah, so enough about my products. So let's look at the technology behind the technology that unlock the life-saving potential of AI. So if you're an AI company, you will have to be extra worries about this. You have to like pay special attention to these 3 things. First, you have to try to acquire massive amount of high quality big data. The more, the better. Now, of course, you have to have knowledge of artificial intelligence and what works. But at least for the healthcare AI, I have come to realize that system architecture is one of the biggest thing that you have to pay special attention to for an AI company. So over the years, we have learned that it doesn't quite like the traditional way of doing AI is that you have a fixed data and you're trying to improve the model in order to be able to predict disease better. And so this is a model-centric point of view, which I subscribed to this when I started. So I was trying to modify my model until it gets better. But these days, with a much more understanding, I actually realized that it's more about improving the data. Actually, our hard work is improving the data. We need more and more data, better and better ground truth. And then the model iteration part is now already handled by a machine. So it's all automated, basically. The process of improving machine, the model is automated, while the data is still very hard, time consuming, and very costly. So now you can see that this is become more and more important. So with that in mind, we have invested a lot in building our data architecture. I might not go through this whole diagram, but before the data made it to our repository, it has to go through a lot of steps. So the data, we have to have a whole team that looking into data collection, making different partnerships and trying to extract data from hospitals and then you have to go through quality control, the quality check. We have to do a lot. We have a whole workflow and a whole suite of tools to understand data, label it, localize where the lesion is, look at the report and read it with machine even, and augment this data before it even go into our data repository. After that, this extremely clean data go into model training and several rounds. A lot of experiments we run hundreds of experiments in a week. We track them. We find now the best model. And after that, once you have the model, we usually end up with several candidates, a model that can work. And it went through a whole quality control process where the machine learning will have to be tested to our validated data. And we sometimes look into the result, what the machine decide. We look into it one by one. And we sometimes have radiologists look at the results and ask them, is this usable? Is this correct? Is this clear to you, right? Before we even select the candidate in which it can be deployed. So out of maybe 5 to 10 candidates, we boil down to one. And then we deploy them up to the cloud. And then they go through a whole process and this is the standard process. If you want to comply to the regulation, you will have to go through containing it, testing it, go through clinical trial for a month basically deploy into the real radiologist workflow. And then the doctor has to be satisfied with that experience before it go to the public, right? And then we have to do all the work afterwards in order to make it comply and for the regulatory to approve each version. So that's the whole thing. And these days, the law also demand that we do post-market surveillance, meaning that we have to monitor this AI even after it was deployed, see if there's nothing wrong, see that the data doesn't drift so much that the AI become not useful anymore. And we have to continuously collect user feedback. So all these steps will aggregate all kinds of mistakes and reflection for us to enter into this continuous process improvement, for us to collect more data and put it into a repository. And the cycle continues. So we go through this every year to update our model and make it better and better. So with this process and one step at a time, we accumulate much more data. In 2020, we trained our CXR on 1.5 images. Now it's up more than 1.5 million images. Now it's more than 2 million in this version 4. And with more data, we were able to spot much better, the AI become better at spotting lesion. Like the lesion that we missed in 2020, we now can see it is very fainted, in this case, fainted fibrosis here. Our latest version can spot this easily. And not just training data, also validating data, which is very crucial because we can't just use data from one hospital to train and validate. It's not correct. We actually had to collect as many images from variety of sources as much as possible. We started with 5,000 images of our, this is our, we call it generalizability set. We used to have 5,000 in 2021. Now it's up to 100,000 because we really make research alliance with a lot of hospitals and they contribute into our repository. And also, this whole process was not just one AI. This is all the AIs we have that are producing the analysis that you saw. Behind the scene, there were a lot of AIs working together. There is one AI just spotting image that is defected. We have large language model looking at the report and ensure that the label and the report is consistent. We use other AIs to clean the data and augment it. We have classifier. We have other combination of segmentation model that put into to combine all these results into the final report. And many more. Like these are some of the MMG's models. So like we actually maintain a lot of machine learning models behind the scene to make it so that the report that came out is easiest to understand for the doctors and can detect as many conditions as possible to help them with the workflow. The model architecture is also important. Like with improvement in architecture, you can spot better diseases. But I want to address the system architecture as well because we deploy this on to more than 100 sites, and this is not a trivial challenge. How it works is that the hospital network will provide, we basically planted a machine in the hospital, a closed network, and this is for your safety and for the data security issue. We have a secure environment in which we transport the image, and we de-identify the image so that your private data is not transporting elsewhere. It has to be kept inside the hospital. We send the image to our cloud in which it can scale infinitely. So the whole country can use the same implementation and it can receive any kind of load and fluctuated load as well. So we send it to the cloud and then the cloud send the AI results back, right? So this is the architecture. So with this architecture, it means we have the data centralized in our cloud. Our latest model is push deploy on the cloud and the whole country get to use a new version right away. For the hospital, they don't have to invest in anything. This machine can be just a virtual machine on the computer they already have. So this is very cost effective to them. And most of all, the security and all these has to be audited and make sure we comply with PDPA and other laws. So this is highly secure architecture. And we use a lot of engineering to make this possible so that every time we push a new model, there's no downtime. Hospital, they don't like downtime because the doctors need AI when they need it, which is anytime. We were able to scale to any load because like with chest X-ray, actually, most of the chest X-ray are taken between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. So we have extremely high load at that time and very low load elsewhere. So that's why the scale of the cloud that can scale up when there's a lot of images and scale down when there's no image is very important. And with this, we come with monitoring and security tools that comply with international standard. So I would like to spend this last few minutes looking forward. So I have talked about where I came from. I've talked about the technology that we were able to build today and the impact that we can make today. But I would like to look forward into the future and ask how AI can really change healthcare from now on. This is the image of all the top diseases. This is the top diseases that kill people. So the first is basically all kinds of cancers. And like I have already shown you, pretty much all types of cancer in any type of organs, there's AI for it. There's AI to do the lung cancer, the breast cancer, the brain tumor. And once you identify the lesion in the image, the doctor will have to do biopsy and then look at it under the microscope with the oncology analysis. There's AI for that too. So it's great. We have a hope of actually detecting cancer and preventing people, then save lives, basically extend the life expectancy of cancer patient. Number two, deadly disease is stroke and any blood in the brain, blood vein in the brain disease, and there's AI for that too, luckily. For the intracerebral hemorrhage and last vessel occlusion. So there's AI for it. Pneumonia is another one, and there's AI for that. The cardiac diseases, like aortic aneurysm and coronary artery calcification, also there's an AI for that. So thankfully, diabetes, there's diabetes retinopathy. So diabetic people can become blind if it gets severe. So there's an AI to prevent that. There's an AI that can detect, predict your risk of diabetics, the diabetic risk. So you can do it. It can help you with that too. Blood pressure and even HIV. There's AI for everything basically. So this is a good news because once a lot of these are not yet adopted in Thailand, not yet adopted in most hospitals. But imagine if this AI can go into hospitals, it can basically it can save so many lives, and that keeps us going. It's very motivating to see that we can help a lot of people with this path. And I mentioned that I will address this question of like, will the doctor have to lose their job because of AI? And I want to look forward into where we're going as well. So at the current stage of practice, if the hospital doesn't adopt AI, human is the only one who make all kinds of medical decisions. So this is where we are. Most of us are here. What Inspectra has already been able to accomplish is this level 2 of automation, where AI is a shadow decision maker. It screens the database. It does prioritization. It does triaging. It provides a second read at the images. And this is this saves some time, right? Just by prioritizing cases and help the doctor become less tired when they read the images. That's already saved them a lot of time, close to 50% of time. So this is easy goal, and we already achieved this. It's quite easy. So in this case, the AI doesn't really interact with the doctor much. It does things in the background. The third level is AI assistant, where the doctor look at the highlight, just kind of like Inspectra CXR, and it provide like a very accurate second opinion. Like you always have a friend that you can consult. So this is where we're trying to achieve. I guess in some areas like early detections, we can help, but there were some areas that we still need to go, like rare diseases or like images with difficult views, different views, noisy images, things like that. We still have to perfect this step, and it's a hard goal. It's a very hard goal. So this is where we want to go in the very near future. Right now in Europe, some people trying to reach this goal, where the AI perform preliminary read is like a young radiologist that kind of prepare the report. And the radiologist just have to come and tweak it a little bit, tweak the report a little bit, and then that report is ready to be sent to patient. So this is considered reach goal and partly called partial automation. I think we can get there maybe in a few years. But this last level of automation is where AI completely replace doctor and output final diagnosis. And I would say this is very unlikely because machine is trained to analyze big data, but medical decisions are actually made based on a lot of small data. So actual doctor will have to look into clinical data plus image plus consulting with their textbooks and consulting with other doctors. They will accumulate all this evidence, the history, and many things in order to make final diagnosis. And the AI is not there yet. So, and I still think that the AI wouldn't be able to bear the risk and do all the things, right? So the doctors are still needed. And I don't think we will ever get here, or I don't even think that we want to get here where the AI took over all the control. So hopefully the doctors can keep their job. I'm pretty positive that the doctors will not lose their job. Okay, so that's all for what I have to share today with this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Varasinixini, for such an insightful talk. And we would like to now take some questions. There is a question in the chat box, like from Dipali. She's a PhD student and she's working in the field of medical visual question and answering. So can you suggest some key features that she needs to focus on?
I guess it depends on what it means, or key features in the field. Medical visual question and answering. I'm not sure I understand the question.
Dipali,
but my
if you
guess is
have
that she
any
possibly
questions,
means,
yeah, please put an extended questions.
I think she possibly mean that when you see the visual, like, can you do the question, like, can you query and question about the images? Is that, if I misunderstood? Or please clarify your question and I get to it. I'm sorry. Is there any other question, Sal?
Yeah, there is one comment or a question on the Q&A box. Like, the diagnosis can be done by AI, but the final decision should be given by the registered doctor or the radiologist.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely where it is now. And yeah, so I think that also with the ethical concerns of the medical community, and also it's not really there yet. I think even if you look at the most accurate proprietary solution in the world, it still will not be as accurate as a medical expert who, like I said, can integrate data from small data as well as big data in order to make the diagnosis.
So if there are more questions coming in, let me ask you a question from my side. Like, we have seen the different architecture, the model that they are running for this diagnosis. But what is the level of accuracy that you're looking at of the model?
So the model that is, I think this question is a little bit hard to, I mean, it seems like it would be easy, right? But it's actually a little bit hard to say, because like, I think the answer that I usually tell my customer would be like, well, we're looking for specificity of around 90, especially when you are looking at so many conditions. It's actually very hard to get them all high. But we're looking at the average specification of more than 90 and the sensitivity of more than 85. And that's actually on par with practicing radiologists. But then the nuance of that is that, like, yeah, it's on par, but usually the two radiologists would not actually agree with each other when they look at the image, and their judgment would not be aligned anyway. So that introduced some noise, right? So, and you could think of AI as accurate as a radiologist, but it's a second opinion that you can agree or disagree with. So that's the nuance of it. Yeah, for the accuracy. Yeah, and then there's some product in the market that would talk about 99% accuracy, but these numbers can also very much depend on the data set that you use to diagnose. And we would, like, if you use like generalizability set, it would of course go down, and it's shown in so many papers. But if you use the ideal set, like very clean data, very clear data, then you will get high accuracy, right? So it depends. So like, don't get confused by the marketing message. Well, yeah, but I would just call it 90 specificity and 85. And I think that's plenty for current clinical application.
And also, I feel it depends on the diagnosis of what disease that we are doing. Let's say for the heart disease or the lung cancer, diabetic. So I think there are different variables that are there. So the accuracy is also in par with those variables. We cannot fix the like the accuracy has to be 95 or 99%.
Exactly. There's no easy answer for that.
Yeah.
So for example, with the cardiomegaly or enlarged heart, you can directly measure it by just segmenting. You can segment the heart and the lung, and you can kind of measure it pretty much with the mathematical equation, right? So that we got very, very good results with that kind of diagnosis. But then there's like, for example, tuberculosis. People can have a vast variety of opinion about what feature constitute active tuberculosis or indeterminate tuberculosis, or like there's a mix of opinion there. As much as radiologists like to claim they have one single criteria, they don't. Like they do have a small variation in their idea. So with that, like it will be very hard to get extremely high accuracy, because you first have to have the doctors agree, and that didn't happen. Yeah.
So there is two more questions on the Q&A box. Here's Mr. Rishi Jain, a PhD scholar from AIT. He's working on the diabetic retinopathy classification using deep learning model and interpretation using explainable AI method. So he wants to know which explainable AI model are being used for the interpretation.
If I guess you probably heard of CAM, but it's a very simple class activation mapping technique. We just tweak it so that it works out in our particular architecture. So there's nothing fancy there. It's just a lot of fine tuning and a lot of data cleaning and a lot of blood and sweat on that front to get it spot on.
So another question is, as a new hospital is planning to adapt AI, where should they start? What should be the starting point?
They should email Perceptra.tech. But joke aside, I think that I guess like how most of the hospitals started by looking at their fellow hospitals that have already deployed AI, and usually radiologists have their own community in which they can ask. So like for particular college of practice, like I think that the academic community, like the radiology college, has spread out this idea that like, hey, AI can actually help our profession. So that's the resource they should go to. They should go to the college where their colleagues are already there and see their experience using AI. So that's one thing. But for in a typical other, so that's not just AI for diagnosis, right? There's AI for document intelligence. There's AI for queuing intelligence, for drug, actually for drug room, pharmacy room. Like there's AI for all kinds of things in the hospital. And what the hospital should start it is to look into their pain points, look into their workflow, and ask what AI could really help them serve patients better. I think that makes the most sense for most hospitals, is to actually look into their challenges and try to find AI to solve that. So that would be my answer to that question. I'm still curious about this medical visual question and answering. If you get back to us.
Sure. I see there are no more questions. So we can end the session here. Thank you so much for your talk, and we gained a lot of insights into it. And we look forward to have you more in a different capacity in different sessions that we can do. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we would be soon posting the recorded video on our YouTube and our extension website. Please stay tuned for our upcoming webinar series, and you can find the upcoming webinar series on our website, and stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Asam.
much for
Thank
having
you.
me. Thank you.
Thank you.